read about the history of Cyrus, Cyrus was a heathen king. I wish I can go deeper than that, but I'm not going to leave it alone. So what God is saying, I'm going to use a heathen king to free my people from Babylonian captivity. If you don't believe it, look at what he says in verse number 1. Verse number 1, Isaiah 45, verse 1 says, thus saith the Lord to his anointed, Cyrus, whose right hand I have hold to subdue nations before him, to open before him two level gates, and the gates shall not be shut. So he's going to use a heathen king by the name of Cyrus to free his people from Babylonian captivity. I know some of y'all looking at me strange, and some of y'all ain't caught it yet, but God just told me to tell you this right here. Never underestimate what God is going to do and who he's going to use to fulfill his purpose and his plan. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Because even though Cyrus is this heathen king, watch what it says, to his anointed. And any time that you're going to do an assignment from God, you have to be anointed. And God says, I anointed him by God in order to get it done. And can I just be honest with you? By God in order to get it done. And can I just be honest with you? Can I be honest with you? There are some assignments that you're doing that you cannot seem to get done. You cannot seem to get through it. You have to ask yourself the question, am I anointed to do this, or did I sign myself up for it? Because let me tell you something, God will never give you an assignment without an anointing. Can I preach to you for a second? See, there are a lot of folk trying to do stuff and want to do stuff, but if God has not anointed you, preach Wimberly, you are not going to be able to accomplish the assignment. That's why every child of God ought to know what they are anointed to do. Thank you for those 10 hand claps. He says, I anointed him in eternity before he was born in time. Watch this. Now, I really can't really get into why God chose him to fulfill this, but that lets me know never underestimate who God will use to fulfill it. Because I've already worked it out for you. You got to learn how to stay in the waiting room until God gets through. Make the crooked places. Yeah. God's doing some things right there on your job. Before he promotes you, he getting some crooked stuff out the way. And some crooked people. Now, another translation says this. Brother Lowry, it says that he will level the mountains. That's really the translation. He will level the high mountains. Y'all ain't getting it. Y'all not happy. God says, why are you in the waiting room? While I got you at, And so in other words, God says he'll bring you to a season in your life. You don't need no strength to climb no mountain. You don't even need to speak to the mountain because the mountain already gonna be moved. Are y'all feeling what I'm saying up in here? God is saying that when I get ready to do something in your life, I'm moving out everything and everybody that's gonna be a hindrance from being where you need to be. Somebody shout, he's powerful. Our God is so powerful. One of the words for God's power is dunamis. Dunamis is what we get, watch this, dynamite. You know what dynamite does, don't you? Blow some things up. Destroy it. Get it out the way. That's what God is doing in your life. He's leveling some mountains, making the crooked places straight. Then he says, I will break in the pieces the gates of brass and cut asunder the bars of iron. Now understand, this is how what the gates were made of in Babylonian. In other words, in Babylon, they had gates and iron. Watch this. But God is saying, I'm going to break all of that into pieces. What got you in bondage, what got you held back, when he said